So my thoughts on family in this context aren't necessarily new, um, but something I'm noticing more and more the closer I get to people in general, because most people have a different family dynamic than I do. I mean, everyone's family dynamic is different, but most people that I meet or that I get close to, friends, partners, whatever, coworkers and stuff, they have immediate family around. They have extended family around, um, in some capacity or another. That's generally just, I don't know. They have cousins that they like hang out with when they were kids, or they still see or are in contact with, or what have you. Um, I wanted to focus on one specific area, but I think I'm going to end up branching out already, just because I said the word cousins. And so, I mean, I have family. They're just all on a different continent, and they've always been there. So, if you don't know enough about my personal history, the short version is that my parents both moved to Canada, and all my other family is in Chile. That's the short version. So, all my aunts and uncles and grandparents. I don't have any grandparents anymore, but my grandparents were there. My cousins were there. Like, there's a decent amount. I don't. It's not a very huge family, but it's family that is there. That it's not just like one or two people. Like, there's, you know, I don't know how many cousins I would have. I think under 20, but more than 10. Trying to think right now, and I'm like, yeah, that's how disconnected I am. I don't even know how many cousins I have. I maybe, like you said, maybe it's between 10 and 15. So, like first cousins. I don't even know what second cousins are. I don't even know any of that stuff. I've never had to. Um, like I said, I wanted to take this in one specific direction because of things I'm noticing recently about myself, because of being close to people that have family, strong family connections. Strong doesn't necessarily mean good in this context. I just mean strong as in the fact that they have family bonds that I don't have. I feel like my family bonds are really weak because I've met some. The most I've met certain family members is like twice ever. I went to Chile when I was 8, and then I went to Chile again when I was in my like mid-20s. So it was quite a while ago now, and that was kind of it. So. Yeah, my bond just isn't very strong. It's not like I keep up with those people. I got some of them on Facebook, but I mean, we don't really talk. So I don't know. It's just, yeah, it's a whole thing. And I've been envious of people who have like extended family around, have cousins. I mean, sometimes it's like instant friends you get as a kid. You're like, oh yeah, sometimes you live close enough that like close enough but far enough so that like Christmases or holidays you all gather in one place, and you like, or it's Thanksgiving or whatever. Like, there's reasons to have like a reunion of sorts, and to have like these big events, or like like I said, just have instant friends. Like, oh yeah, your cousins, they're around the same age, so, and we're family, so automatically you're like friends or whatever. That stuff I've been envious about. I mean, like family functions like that, I really feel like I miss out on because I've just gotten to know how certain family dynamics work, with the partners that I've had, and being a part of their family for a short period of time sometimes. I don't know, just these simple things like having like board game time during Christmas holidays or something, right? Like things like that I never do, because my Christmases are generally very lonely. That's all I've really ever known. So I don't know. I didn't feel lonely until later, until like, man, I don't even know when it probably started. I mean, I don't know what it was like in my teens. I really don't remember how I felt at Christmas time. But during my like early 20s and stuff, like for the first little bit, I was like, hell yeah! Like, everyone wants to leave work to go see family and do this. Well, I'll take their shifts. Like, I'll work. I'll make money during the holidays. That's, I got more time to read. I got more time to do this or that. But all my friends would be busy. So at a certain point, I was like, man, I have all this time by myself. I'm like, I have enough time by myself. Like, I make time to be by myself because I need it. I don't need more time than I already had. Like, it's okay for a little bit, and then all of a sudden it becomes like really, yeah, like I said, lonely, not having family around. Yeah, like again, I started with a point in my head, and I'm like not getting there. I'm just realizing that as much as I think I can empathize with someone's family situation, it's difficult because I don't have that experience of my own. So I understand stuff to a degree, but not all the way. Like, I don't know how I would feel if family members did this or did that or did that. Part of it is just like me believing in my nature or whatever, like my personality that seems to be part of my nature, and not saying that nature can't change or you can't grow or change directions as a person in some areas. Some areas are much harder, I think, and some areas may never change. I don't know how much of that would be really biological, but there's just things that like I feel like it's easier to cut certain people out of my life, friends out of my life for whatever the reason. It's easier to let go, and not that I don't miss some of those relationships or friendships or whatever from time to time, depending on the reason that they stopped. But I mean, like it seems to be easier to let go of relationships. That might be because of not having this family dynamic that a lot of other people have had. I don't know. But I translate cutting friends out of your life on the same plane or level that you would cut family out of your life, even though I know it's not the same thing. I know it's not the same, and I understand that most likely it would be more difficult. But the part of me that hasn't had to deal with it just thinks like, just because things are hard doesn't mean you don't do them. Like if your friend was abusive to you in any way, you should probably cut ties. If a partner was, same thing. If a family member is, same thing. It doesn't, like, to me, just, that's why I've always said, blood relations mean nothing to me. Like, what does that mean? That means nothing. That's a biological thing that's not my choice. It doesn't say anything good or bad about the person at all. And therefore, why does it have any bearing on my relationship with that person just because we happen to be, siblings or whatever? It's kind of like, this is a weird analogy I just thought of, but I mean, like, when I was younger and, I was buying CDs because I didn't have a computer, and, I mean, no one was selling digital albums, whatever. The point is, I didn't have a lot of money, and I was buying physical CDs in my teens, and, like, I would read about them in magazines. There wasn't, like, YouTube where I could, like, check them out ahead of time either, So I'd read about them, and I would buy it, and I would just listen to it a lot. I didn't have many opportunities to buy new music, so I would really, really listen to an album. This is something that's been brought up by so many people in recent years because we have so much accessibility because of the internet to all this music that now we don't have to sit with an album as long because there's something new out next. And we're also oversaturated, overpopulated, and that leads to so much new music. Not just like, oh, I have access to new music, but it also like there's so much more new music than there was 20 years ago. So just that whole thing. Point I'm getting at is like I would have to sit with that album. I'd have to really get to know it. It would grow on me, or it'd have an opportunity to grow on me. Whereas, if I just like meet a friend for the first time, or like you meet someone and you kind of decide whether or not, or maybe it's a date, maybe it's like an online date or something, and you meet up, and then you kind of decide really quickly, generally, if you want to see them again or not. You don't have to spend time with them. You don't have to learn to love them. And that's something that's interesting. I don't think necessarily when you grow up with family you have to learn to love them. I think for a lot of people it becomes automatic. It's like, oh yeah, that's family. And I think that's a lot of tradition and a lot of the family culture that happens to be with most families that I'm aware of is like, oh yeah, they're family, so we love them, and we like. And I don't agree with that, like for reasons I just said. That sharing the bloodline doesn't mean that they're a good person. It doesn't mean that they're good to you or they're good to other people or that they're good at all. So I have a hard time with that notion. I think that's maybe one reason why families can be so effed up is because there's this push and pull of like, I love you, but man, I really hate you as a person, or like I don't like you at all, but I love you. And like, that's something that I've even said in like relationships before, being like, I love you, but I just don't like you right now. I think that applies for a few moments, but I mean, there's sometimes people have, whether it's their own, parents or their siblings or a cousin or an aunt or an uncle, whatever, grandparents, are like, man, like, I can't. Like, you're a horrible human being. And that's the thing. And it's like, if you were not my, whatever the associated thing is, if you were not my brother or whatever, I wouldn't like you. Like, I wouldn't be friends with you if I had a choice. And it's not like I have a choice I think I've mentioned this before. Like, it's not like I have a choice with my parents either. But I do. I have a choice. Everyone has a choice on who they spend their time with and who they give their energy to, and who they let affect them to a degree, right? at a certain, I mean, especially as an adult, because if you're not living under, someone's roof or whatever, in the case of a parent, you have a lot more control as to how you want to interact with that individual. And it's a weird dynamic because, like, yeah, I don't know. Especially when it comes to ages and stuff, obviously, it's like, yeah, maybe I wouldn't be friends with anyone that's 50 years older than me, if we're talking about, like, grandparents or something. Maybe you would be, but, I mean, it's a whole different relationship. It's not a friendship, and I get that. And part of that is that, part of that is a whole different dynamic. I completely get it. But, like I said, I just attribute it to the fact that you can get rid of any relationship you don't want. And I know that it's not easy, but I think I'm coming to learn that it is so much more difficult than I thought it would be. And not because I'm having to do it. It's just like, again, it's just been over the years. Over the years, and I'm specifically talking about having partners, because I feel like I get inside of their life a little more than I would with, like, even best friends. That I hear about their family, they talk about their family, I feel like I know the names, I've seen the faces, maybe I've met them in person, but I'm not a part of their family, Like, whereas at a certain stage with a partner, sometimes you go to their family functions, you become someone that they see maybe often, you interact with them, like, you don't just hear stories about them and never meet them. And they don't generally, I mean, and they do affect your life, you know what I mean? That's the difference, is that they affect your life a bit, and so it just becomes this whole different thing. And that's the thing. I've just been learning, like, I don't know. Obviously, it's different with every family. I'm just realizing how much me not having a family around changes my perception. Like, again, this stuff is not new, and it's kind of obvious, but it changes my perception of things, and, like, because I have limited experience, and I just go with my logic, I know that there's emotions there. Like, my reasoning and logic tells me I know this can't be that easy to do certain things, like I said, whether it's cutting ties with family members, because they're family. And, like, I hate that answer, because they're family. Like, family doesn't have to mean anything. Like I said, blood doesn't have to mean anything. I think we attribute too much to it, as a culture or as a society or whatever. I think there's way too much tolerance for people that are blood that you wouldn't give to people that are not blood. That bothers me. I don't like that. It doesn't make any sense to me. Why would I take this person's abuse but not that person's abuse? Like, I just don't like it. But, like I said, I've just started thinking about the fact that, like, yeah, my family dynamic, I was just thinking the other day, man, like, everybody's family is screwed up. Like, everybody's. The difference is that, like, they're all screwed up in different ways, and some are obviously way more tame, and, like, I don't want to ever use the word, like, regular or normal, but some people's families are more tame or distant, and other people's families are very involved, and, like, maybe they can both be the same level of, like, goodness. And then some people have, like, really involved families that are super toxic, and some people have really distant families that are also super toxic or just not good, and there's a lot of negativity and harsh vibes, man. Just, like, a lot of things that aren't great. So I think that, yeah, it's just this complicated thing that I'm only coming to really, really, really think about a lot more recently, and how, like, my lack of experience with family, I've seen negatives and positives. Like, I don't feel the need, again, to tolerate certain things but from anyone, especially family. I think that's a plus. And I can't attribute these to just not having family around. But, I mean, I also don't get all those other things that could be positive things, whether it's, like, these relationships or whatever that some people have, like, built into their life, or just, like, I don't have the proper skills sometimes to navigate certain relationships in a way because I haven't had to. I haven't had to have tolerance. And that's not necessarily a good thing. Like, I haven't had the experiences to navigate, like, how to deal, with having a sibling close to my age that I lived with that we fought and then we tried to talk things out. Like, I don't know. And maybe some families don't do that anyway. They don't talk things out at all. They leave them completely alone. And that baffles me too. Like, some people just don't talk about things. Some people talk and then other people don't listen. And then things don't change. And then you're in a cycle of just negative, relationships, and that sucks. And it's not like I've done that before, not with family, for certain periods of time, but I mean, I can't think of anything right now that is so negative and cyclical and toxic. Sometimes it's taken me, a long time to leave a relationship that I knew wasn't good, that's happened multiple times. Anyway, this is different. And like I said, my whole point is that I don't like the fact that it's different, and like it's really hard for me to navigate that differentness, and like I said, just being more involved with partners and their lives over the past couple of years has just given me this perspective and this thing of like, man, everyone's family's screwed up. They're just screwed up in different ways. I don't know how. I've never put my family on a pedestal. I know enough about certain characters in my family to know that, yeah, we're all human. We make mistakes. Some people have mental health issues. Some other people have like feuds going on. Other people are just like, incommunicado. Like there's all these different things going on. But I never have to experience it. It doesn't affect me. I tell my mom all the time, like, don't let it affect you. I feel like there's a balance there. Like, she lets things affect her way too much, and I don't let things affect me at all because I'm just not involved. I'm not there. I'm not present. I don't have the relationships. I don't have the love. It's like I said, some of it might be nurture, some of it's nature. I don't know, because I know that a lot of my family that have seen me just as much as I've seen them, like if I've only ever seen them twice in my life, and we don't keep in contact, they have a certain amount of love for me that I don't have for them. And I don't know 100% why that is. Like I said, that might be a nature thing, it might be a nurture thing. Definitely a cultural thing, I think, is a huge part of it because, like, they have their Chilean culture, they also have their family culture, and I have neither of those things. I have Canadian culture, and I don't really have family culture because generally growing up, it was just my mom and I for a lot of those developmental years. So I don't really have family culture, I don't have my Chilean culture. And then whatever my nature and biological differences are in my mind and heart or whatever are different too. So it's just been a ride, and it gets wild sometimes when I think about like, man, like I don't even know, like I've never really, it doesn't matter how long I've been with a partner, I've never really connected with their family. Some of that is just coincidence. I don't think it's because I can't connect with them. I think part of it, it's me, 100%. A lot of it is me because I am so picky that I'm not like, oh, they're your family, so I guess I have to get along. It's like, well, no, that dude's garbage, and I'm not going to really put effort in talking to him. That's kind of, and some partners understand that, and I don't know, I have a really hard time just pretending with that kind of thing. Pretending in the scope of like relationships and stuff. And like there's a difference between being civil and then like actually trying to build a thing. I don't know. I'm going off the rails. Yay. I just haven't, like, it's just this, there's this disconnect because I don't understand family dynamics as much as I thought I did. And I don't understand all the difficulties. And I don't, as much as I feel like I empathize or sympathize, I can't. I just can't to the degree that I need to. I can sympathize, but I can't fully empathize. I don't have those issues. Like I said, my family has issues, but I am so far away from them and so disconnected, geographically and emotionally, that I don't see the same thing that happens, like I said, with other people and their family and how much they talk and how much they see each other and they affect each other's lives. My family in Chile does not affect my life. The only way it affects my life is when it affects my mom, and then that sometimes affects my mood because I'm like, geez, like you're really depressed right now, or you're not having a good time, or like whatever, right? Family drama is something that is, I don't want to say it's new to me, it's just the fact that, like I said, I've, with a couple of partners I've gotten very close to, that I've been involved in their family gatherings and stuff and been over there and met people, extended family, and been a part of their life a little bit, there's just a certain distance because I don't just like, whoa, there we go, like I just fit. A part of it is just me. I just don't fit with many people, period. I just don't. I don't like very many people, and I don't pretend to, and I just don't feel comfortable with many people at all. But then also there's people that have been like really accepting of me and really sweet to me, and again, I just like didn't gel with them. I'm just like, you're a sweetheart, you're an amazing person, and all your family seems like so nice and so good. Not all, but I mean the main people sometimes are just so amazing and great, and I just can't connect. Again, that's a me thing as a person. I don't necessarily think it's 100% tied to the fact that I didn't have family around. But it's I don't know, there's a lot of factors. And so I'm just at this place where I'm realizing, like, man, like, I don't know, it's something that I have difficulty with. I don't know how to fix it or do anything with. It's definitely been something that has been, I don't want to say it's, I guess it has. It's caused tension in past relationships too, because I can't seem to integrate and enjoy their family. And I don't know. It's not easy. Like I said, I don't know. It would be like I said, I think that's more of me just not liking anybody, nothing to do with their family. But then the thing is, there becomes tension sometimes because I don't know how to leave things alone. Like I don't know how to just shut my face and be like, "Oh, that's your family." Because the closer I get to someone, the more that our lives kind of come together a little closer. The more their, the more that their family affects them, it affects me. So then it becomes a thing of like, I don't understand. Like if your family's really stressing you out or something, like why do you do this? Why do you do that? Why don't you try this? Why don't you try that? And then people are like, no, you don't understand. I'm like, I don't. You're right, I guess, but I don't get it. I don't get why you can't say certain things. I don't get why people can't defend themselves. I don't understand why things, and that's, again, that's not someone else's fault. That's like some of it is just the way that I'm wired, and some of it is just needing to have deeper understanding. I don't have certain experiences, and it's, yeah, part of that just relates to control. I don't like people controlling me in any way. So if it's, that's just life. I'm not going to have control at all times. But I mean, like, I don't want things to stress out someone that I'm right next to all the time, because then that stresses me out, or that makes me sad, or makes me angry, or whatever. If something is affecting someone I'm super, super close to, whether it be a really good friend, or whether it be my partner, or whether it be my mom, like, I just don't understand. I'm like, why don't you just don't talk to them? Just stop it. That's it. The drama's gone. You don't have to deal with it. Especially when they're people that are, on another continent. It's just like, just don't talk to them for a bit. Just be like, yo, I'm telling you right now, this is not healthy for me, and I love you, but peace to you until you figure your stuff out. I can't really do this right now. It sounds really easy. I know it's not, but holy smokes, I don't know. It's just, I don't know if it's something I'm ever going to get. like I don't have the experience, and it's too late to have the experience. I didn't grow up with that experience. So trying to navigate that as an adult is super weird, and I'm realizing now how weird it is. I didn't realize it before, but it's just like really, I don't know, it's like when people say, man, how do you make friends in your 30s? I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, here's a bunch of ways that I mean, it just happens by accident. You start working with people, they seem kind of cool, and you hang out. I don't know. Like, it's way easier when you're kids because those friendships don't mean anything a lot of the time. They're built on something really superficial. But you choose who you want to stay in contact with for whatever reason. But again, I mean, that's how I feel, But I mean, maybe some people that had family, that grew up with family, and that they maybe had certain friendships from elementary school that they still have for some reason, even, I don't know, because they learn to tolerate certain things, or that they learn to grow those things from not the same place that I would grow a relationship. I don't know. Like I said, I'm just realizing how weird it is and how messed up it is sometimes that I don't have those experiences, because I can't understand those experiences or feel those experiences the same way. And I'm sitting on the sideline. I don't really know what to do here or do there or do here. And then I express the things that I feel, and that doesn't have a place a lot of the time that I express what I feel. Or I just don't do it the right way. I don't know. Yeah, it's just, I haven't even thought of a title for this video yet. But I was going to call it something about the pros and cons of not having family around, but I mean, that doesn't, I don't know. Most people do. So I feel like I'm at a deficit or I'm just like starting from a different point that most people are starting from, where I can't grasp the nature of these relationships sometimes and understand why this or why that. And I want things to be different, and I don't know why they can't be different sometimes. And I don't like, that's the thing. That's just the thing about me and how selfish I am. I'm like, I don't want to tolerate anything. Why would I want to tolerate stuff? Why would I want to tolerate bad energy? Why would I want to give someone my energy and my time when it doesn't make me feel good? Like, just don't. Like, it's, there's times where you work through a relationship, right? You work through problems and stuff like that. You work through things. But if you repeatedly can't work through them, then I guess you find another way to have a healthy relationship with yourself, and that might mean not having a relationship with that person at all. Yeah. I don't really know where to go from here. Like I said, I just kind of realized how weird it was just while making this video. Actually, just like that's where it really hit home is like how weird it is that I don't know that I struggle with this so much. Like, um, yeah. Again, everyone's family dynamics are different. It's not like everyone who has family close, it's the same thing. I know it's not. I know things are difficult more so than I would like them to be. Um, but I don't really know how to get the experience to have a fuller understanding of things and empathize. Like I said, especially when things start to affect me, I don't have much reason in my mind to have patience or tolerance when things are negatively impacting me and the people I care about. It's really difficult for me. So, anyway, yeah, I feel like I gotta have so many different chapters on family stuff. In a way I can, and in a way I can't. I have a lot to say about the fact that I don't have much experience. Yeah, we'll leave it at that, and we'll see you on another time.